Hi guys, in this video I will show you how to create a new JavaFX project in IntelliJ. Navigate to the top right corner and click New Project. This will bring up a new dialog. On the left, you see different types of projects you can create. Select JavaFX. If you do not see JavaFX in this list, click Cancel and then navigate to the IntelliJ menu and select Preferences. On the left side, select Plugins. Then search for JavaFX. This will find the JavaFX plugin. Make sure to check the check mark to enable the plugin. Once the plugin is enabled, click OK and then go back to the New Project button. Now you should see JavaFX in this list. Select JavaFX and enter a new project name. I will select my JavaFX app. At the bottom, you can select the Java SDK for the project. If you do not find the Java SDK project in this list, you can also download a new Java SDK if you like. Then click Next. Optionally, you can add additional dependencies if you like. I leave everything as default. Then click Finish. This will generate the new JavaFX project. Now, this is a Maven project. Maven is a build tool that manages the dependencies and builds for your project. The most important file is the pom.xml file. This defines the Java project. It has a list of dependencies and it also has a list of plugins to use. Now, if you want to add additional dependencies later, you can simply search the dependency for Maven online, and then you will find an XML snippet with an dependency element, and you simply paste this in here and add it to the list of dependencies. Next, let's build this Maven project. Go to Terminal and then enter Maven clean compile. This is a Maven command that will take the POM XML and build the project. Once the Java build is complete, minimize the terminal window, right-click on the JavaFX project and select Maven Reload Project. This ensures that IntelliJ has all the recent files loaded. Now expand source, main Java, and under Java you will see a package com.example.myJavaFX app. Now, my JavaFX app may be different if you selected a different project name. Expanding this project will bring up two classes. The first one is Helloapplication. Helloapplication is a subclass of application. Any JavaFX application always has to extend the application class. Now, you will also see a main method that calls the launch method of the superclass. And this will then trigger the start method that's overridden here. This is passed a stage as argument, and this stage represents the UI to which we can add elements. These elements can be added programmatically with Java instructions, or they can be defined in a separate Fxml file. I have a video how to do each of these methods. So if you would like to do more about this, check out my other videos on that. Now let's take a look at the instructions that were generated here. At first, it finds a resource that is a file named helloview.fxml. It creates a loader for this file, and then it calls the load method. This parses the file, generates the UI controls, and builds a new scene with all the controls defined in the file. Then it sets the scene for the stage that is passed in. It also adds a title for the stage and then calls the show method, which makes this scene visible. Now let's take a look at the HelloView Fxml file that it uses here. Expand source resources and then the same name package name, and then helloview.fxml. This is an Fxml file It has the imports for all the controls it uses. Then it has a vertical box. This aligns controls from top to bottom. There are some attributes set here, such as alignment and spacing. Then there's a padding, a label, and a button. Now, one important thing here is the FX controller attribute. This defines the controller class that will handle UI input. And this is defined as com.example myJavaFX app. This is the package name, so you can find it here. And then the controller class, which is hello controller. That is this class over here. What this will do is it will call the constructor, create an instance of this class, and then for any UI input, it will call the methods on the class. Let's take a look at button. The button shows a text hello, and it has an onAction attribute that defines an event handler that gets triggered when the button is clicked. And the exact method that is called is onHelloButtonClick. Now, if you go back to the controller, you will see there's a method onHelloButtonClick. This is the method that is called. And if we go back here, there's a label with the FX ID, and the ID is welcome text. Now going back to the controller, you will see there's a private label, welcome text. This matches the ID in the Fxml file, and it has an @Fxml annotation. Now, when I go back to the Fxml file, onAction will trigger this method, and in this method is an instruction that updates the text of this label. You can see this here. This gets executed, it accesses the label, and then sets the text to welcome to JavaFX application. Now that you have an understanding of how the project is set up, right-click on Helloapplication and call run helloapplication.main. And this is what it looks like. Here's the button. The label initially doesn't have any text, so we cannot see it. But when we click the button, this gets executed and will set the text to welcome to JavaFX application. You can also use a debugger. For example, you can add a breakpoint by clicking on the space next to a line number, for example here, or anywhere in your program. I can do it here as well. And when you run your application, instead of clicking run, select debug. This will run the application up to a breakpoint. You can see it stops now here at the breakpoint. If you go down here to variables, you can see the variables that are defined so far and the values for all of these variables. Then you have controls to step over to the next instruction. If there's a method call, you can step into the method call, such as setTitle. You can see what setTitle does. You can step back out of the method. It will complete the method to the end, then come back out. Or if you click the green arrow, you can resume running the program. Now, if I click hello, it will execute the event handler, and you can see I had another breakpoint here. If I no longer care about the breakpoint, I simply click it again, it's gone, and then I can click resume. And this will bring up the text. I hope you enjoyed this video on how to create a new JavaFX application, and you have a basic understanding of the different parts that are involved to build a JavaFX application. Thank you for watching.